So this video is definitely overdue. There's probably a lot of you guys who've been waiting for this. In fact, I know there is because a lot of you guys have asked me. But I'm finally doing an update on the crested gecko that I rescued, and oh no, my camera battery is dying. So I just have to take about an hour to let my battery charge. Normally I keep a spare battery on hand. I have no idea where it is, so I just had to let the battery charge. But anyways, no one cares about this. So, geckos. I don't remember where I left off completely, so yeah, we're essentially just doing an update video on the crested gecko that I rescued a little while back. A lot of you guys probably saw that video. I assume you would have if you're watching this. It might make a little more sense. So yeah, we're doing an update video on him. So I'm gonna give you a brief little rundown, and then we're gonna go and take a look at him and see some other footage and whatnot. So overall, he's been doing really well. He does have a name now. I decided to name him Oliver. He's gained a bit of weight. He actually did drop his tail at one point. I was filming in here and I knocked my tripod over, and the noise scared him enough that he dropped his tail. So he has since lost his tail since the last time you saw him, but it's completely healed over. He had no problem dealing with that. It healed just fine. But yeah, he's gained a bit of weight, which is great, and I've since upgraded his enclosure. So he's now in a bioactive cage, which we'll see all the footage of me setting that up in a bit. But with that brief little rundown out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the gecko now and see how he's doing. Okay, so we're here in the reptile room where my gecko is now living. First of all, I apologize for the lighting situation. It's pretty hard to film in here with like all of the reptile lights. It's just weird. But yeah, so we are here where my crested gecko now is. So as I mentioned, he's out of quarantine now, which means he is, you know, safe to be in the reptile room around my other pets. So he is actually right up here. I'm pointing to some vitamins and calcium, but he's behind those in that enclosure right there. So let's go ahead and get him out, and then I'll show you the enclosure and everything. So here we have him, nice little gecko who's jumping everywhere. So he's still a pretty jumpy gecko, as you can see. He does like to jump wherever he can, whenever he can, essentially. But other than his jumpiness, I would say he's doing really well. He's pretty good about handling, other than, you know, jumping everywhere. But once, you know, he's kind of calmed down a little bit now. He's just chilling here. But as you can see, he doesn't have his tail anymore, but it did heal over really well. You know, it's just a little nub there now, which is all good. As I mentioned, he did gain a bit of weight. So when I first got him, he was 19 grams. Then he lost his tail. Okay, so he was 19 grams, and then he gained some weight, went up to 21 grams. So he gained 2 grams. And then he lost his tail, and when he lost his tail, he lost 2 grams again. But keep in mind, this isn't actually like body weight that he was losing, it was just the weight of his tail. So he went back down to 19 grams, but again, he still did gain 2 grams. It was just the tail loss that affected that. And then as of now, he's around 24 grams. So I would say he is still pretty small for a crested gecko, especially when, you know, he is an adult, so he's a little tiny. But he is a much healthier size now. You know, a 19-gram crested gecko as an adult isn't really ideal. 24 grams even, I would say, is still a little bit light, but you know, it's definitely a lot better. He's probably a tiny bit stunted. Like, I don't really think he'll get much bigger than this, but that's okay. He is pretty healthy. He's really active. He eats all of his food just fine. He doesn't really seem to like insects. I haven't been able to get him to eat any insects at all yet. I've only been able to get him to eat like Pangea and Rapashi and whatnot, but he goes nuts for all those. He'll eat his whole bowl, so he's nice and healthy. So I don't really have any concerns about him. He's doing really well, and yeah, there's not a whole lot more I can say about that. He's just a good little gecko, aren't you? Just a very cute little gecko. And he does just have a really nice pattern. He's like a full pinstripe. Really cute. Love him a lot. He's been a great little gecko, haven't you? Okay, so we're gonna there, let him go right back in his cage. So now that I've talked to him, or now that I've talked to you guys about him a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at his cage, and then we will see the footage of me setting this up. So this is his current enclosure here. So I actually did make this a bioactive setup, so it's all live planted. There's a cleanup crew in here and everything, but there's a few things I want to talk about. So the first thing I want to talk about is the size of the enclosure. So as you may remember, when I first got him, he was in a 12 by 12 by 18 Zilla enclosure, and that's what I quarantined him and everything, and it worked fine. So now for his permanent enclosure, I decided to get an Exoterra just because I have a lot of Exoterras and I wanted it to match nicely. So I went out and I got an Exoterra for him. As for the size, I did actually decide to stick with the 12 by 12 by 18. After owning him for the time that I have and getting to observe him and everything for a little while, I kind of came to the decision that this would be better for him than a larger cage. So typically the minimum recommended for an adult crested gecko is a 18 by 18 by 24. That's what I have my other one in, but I just didn't think that it was going to be best for him, at least right now. So he is still very shy. When it comes to eating, he's still very, very picky. He will only eat if I put his food right on this corner, right here on the ground. He will not eat off a ledge or anything. He will only eat if it's right in this corner. And as you can see, he's still really small. You can see him right back there. And given the fact that he's kind of picky about where he eats his food, I was worried that if I put him in a larger enclosure that it would stress him out, he might not eat. So I did decide to go with this size for now, and I do feel that it's best suited for him, at least right now. You know, as I mentioned, he's still very small. It does give him quite a lot of room, and it makes sure that he can easily access his food over here. In the future, I might end up going with an 18 by 18 by 24 and maybe seeing if he does well in it then. But for now, I just think that this is better for him. So in this enclosure, it is bioactive, like I said. So if we look down at the bottom here, this is the drainage layer. Then we have the substrate layer. So this is like a mix of a bunch of different things. Then we do have some live plants. So there is this parlor palm. I have a snake plant. He really likes sleeping in this snake plant. Then there is some pothos up at the front here. And then there is this piece of cork and this vine throughout. I do want to kind of add some more like vines and wood, so I'm probably going to order a bit more, but this is what it looks like for now. So this is also hooked up to my Mist King, and there is a 5.0 UVB bulb at the top. So yeah, this is his current setup, and now let's go ahead and get into the footage of me setting this enclosure up. there we have it. That was the footage of me setting up his enclosure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing that. I don't really have a ton more to say about him. He's just doing really well, you know? That's the update. He's a good little gecko living his life now in his bioactive enclosure, and I'm excited to continue owning him. So that was pretty well it for the update. I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing this. Hopefully you guys are happy to get an update on him. I know you guys have been waiting for a while, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. It means a ton to me, so I'd love it if you did that. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel if you aren't already, and check out all of my social media. It'll all be in the description below. One other thing I want to say is, as I mentioned in my last video, I am moving soon. The house is mine in less than a month, so going to be moving soon. So with that said, if there's any videos that you guys want me to try and film while I'm still in this house here, let me know. I'm hoping to film another like all of my pets video because it's been over a year since I've done one. So I'd really like to do one before I move. But yeah, if you guys have any video requests that I should film before I move, feel free to comment them down below. That'd be helpful for me because I need to film a lot of videos before I get to moving. So yeah, all of that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and hopefully I'll see you all next time.